Greetings, faithful. Welcome back. Today we begin a trek into probably the most ambitious storyline I've put on the table to date, the God War. This plot will cover the entire 19th level of the game, sprinkled in with bits of pre-established story from prior levels and foreshadowing future events in the final beats of the story. It's not every day you get a chance to blindside your players with something this apocalyptic. Players of this level are accustomed to being nigh unstoppable, so this level is designed to humble them up a bit before we move into the final climax and resolution of the story. While my players are mighty gods, they are not. We will pick up the story where I left it in the Feywild, where my players are abruptly dropped into a world gone mad. The story will begin 10 days after the inciting incident that sparked the war. But before we get into the narrative bits, here's some mechanical stuff, cause it's kind of important and spicy. Throughout this whole level, certain aspects of reality break down as the gods fight. Right out of the gate, magic, luck, travel, and the weather are already broken. Magic is probably the most impactful, as magic items don't work at all, including potions and scrolls. Spells fail 50% of the time, and always produce a wild magic surge. Luck fails 50% of the time. Travel by way of magic is unreliable at best, and typically sends you someplace at DM discretion. And the weather is terrible, making overland travel slower than normal and just making things miserable. That is just the start. In this level, the players will have way more than that to fix. Just to name what's up first: music, pain, and death. These adjustments to game mechanics serve as the puzzle and challenge of this section of the story. Each broken aspect of reality must be brought back into balance. So, for example, if my players want it to stop raining, they have to get Talos and Procan to stop fighting. Simple as that, but easier said than done. How do you stop two 300-foot tall titans in a fistfight in the middle of the Azure Sea during the mother of all hurricanes? So, let us begin. Level 19 of my campaign began in the Feywild, wrapping up loose ends from the previous level before going home. Following the reuniting of Titania and Mab, the players learned that curing Mab of the Black Diamond's curse meant she lost most of her power, and the necromancer they had left a statue in her garden was now on the loose. Considering that the last thing Lady Knight said was that she would murder all of the rogue PC's children when she got out, the party felt they needed to get home right away. They made a plan, aimed for the rogue's most vulnerable child, and plane shifted home, or at least they tried to. The party tried to plane shift to Grodsul, but know immediately something is wrong. They have plane shifted many times in the game, but the flow of magic was violent and unreliable. They saw themselves miss their target and get thrown about 400 miles off course to the west, landing in the hills of the Tors. When they arrive, it is storming horribly. Visibility is reduced to a quarter distance, movement is halved, and they don't know where they are. In my game's canon, you cannot be reached by sending while in the Feywild due to the way time moves there. So, when you return, you get hit with every sending you would have received, but all simultaneously, making it a rather unpleasant cacophony of nonsense. But when they returned this time, even this seemed to fail, becoming not much beyond an unintelligible murmur. One of the PCs went to cast a spell, and it didn't work. Lost the slot. No result whatsoever. They looked around, and the Tortle monk, Master Tortal, realized that he was near his hometown of Torton, and the party drudged through the hills and rain into the village. When they got to shelter, they soon realized none of their magic items were attuned. They started checking and realized that all magic items were not functioning at all. The sentient items they have are silent, and all of the items that were inside of their bags of holding are unretrievable, meaning most of them are now broke too. So, they talked to a few of the Tors of Torton. On a side note, every turtle in my campaign has Tor somewhere in their name, like Tornado, Tor Mentor, Janitor, Senator, Tortilla, etc. And all of them come from this region, the Tors. It's a running gag. Blame my player. Anyway, they talk to a few of the Tors of Torton and find out that they were in the Feywild for months instead of weeks. They also learn that it has been raining non-stop for 10 days. Around the same time, magic stopped working. They go to talk to Investigator, the Shire Reeve of the village, to find his eyes are 2 different colors and he's acting strangely. Because he's actually the god of ill luck, Ralishaz. Ralashaz exclaims that he found his turtle and proceeds to poke and prod the monk, expressing dissatisfaction with the monk being alive again. The party has a strange conversation with Ralashaz about what's going on, and he explains the gods are fighting and look at all the marvelous chaos it has brought. The party negotiates with him and wins him over enough to send them somewhere where they can actually make an impact, and he drops them in a barren wasteland in the Outlands. True to his word, he sent the party, but he did exclude the 2 NPC followers traveling with the party, the Nilbog Fen and the shape-changed pink dragon in her tiefling form, Nyzath, leaving them in Torton. That bit will be important later. Upon arriving in the Wastelands, the party find themselves still magicless, but at least it's not raining. The party wanders through the Wastelands for hours, and eventually finds some footprints. They follow them, and it leads to a great set of stairs leading to a grand building high atop the steep cliff face. The druid and the party attempted to wild shape into a giant owl. Mechanically, while magic is broken, any spell or magical effect not nullified outright has a 50% failure rate and always triggers a wild magic surge, success or fail. So, the druid made her save and the wild magic surge made her 1 size larger, taking her giant owl form from large to huge. She flew the slower PCs up, and the faster ones took the stairs. As soon as they started ascending the stairs, the guardians appeared and began to attack. These guardians are directly from the lore of this place and are referred to as Elder Elementals, 1 of each flavor: fire, earth, air, and water.
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet!
Instead of building a whole custom monster stat, I just use regular elementals of those types, but if you kill one, it just respawns at the bottom of the stairs. The players, without most of their magic, had a tougher time than they expected, as elementals are resistant to non-magical attacks. They eventually made it to the top, but the building has no door. Architecturally, there should be a door facing the stairs, but none is there. It's a magic door. I have 2 different ways it could appear. One was the lyrics of the song talking about the place I made. You must tread there alone. If only one PC walks up to where the door should be, it will appear. But if there are other characters near them, it won't appear. The other way was to kill each elemental type once. The party never discovered either of those methods. They opted for Smash. So, I gave the wall 200 hit points, a damage threshold of 20, and only bludgeoning damage or tools that break rock were effective. As they did, light poured from the crack in the wall. The party fought back the elementals while breaking a hole large enough for them to get through and narrowly escape the relentless elementals. Once inside, the party found themselves in a vast library, larger than even the Great Library in Greyhawk. One of them eventually realized they were in the fabled Library of Lore, the god Boccob's realm. Most importantly, they realize magic works here, and they take a rest and attune to their items again and get some of their money out of their bags of holding, just in case. After a short rest, the party finds a central chamber to the library with 9 hallways leading out. They investigate and find a unique marking at each hallway symbolizing the different schools of magic. The 8 standard schools, and Chronomancy, the forgotten school of magic.
Chronomancy! As I said, at your first day, the greatest magic of all is chronomancy.
As they investigate, they hear sounds coming from some of the hallways. From the divination hall, they hear the sounds of women being tortured and whipped, but perhaps enjoying it. From the transmutation hall, they can hear indiscernible voices bickering. From the necromancy hall, they hear what sounds like a fight is happening. And from the illusion hall, it sounds like there is a bard battle underway. The party, hearing the bard battle, was worried about their friend Alidamara, the bard of the gods. So they went to the Hall of Illusion first. As they went down the hallway, they suddenly found themselves in a tavern with Alidamara on stage, locked in an epic battle with another god they don't know. Looking around the room, they find a few familiar faces. They find the goddesses Wenta, Cetilion, and Lear. And all 3 are wildly drunk. In canon, only Cetilion is normally drunk. Wenta can usually hold her booze incredibly well, and Lear, being drunk, stands out, as she is the goddess of poetry. She is not known for being a huge partier. The goddesses explain that everything is falling apart, and that they can't figure out how to help Alidamara, let alone any of the other gods. They say the other god on the stage is called Ogma, and that he comes from someplace called Toril. They also point out that the world they're colliding with doesn't have equals to them apparently, and they seem kind of insulted by that. The 2 bards are battling to a stalemate, seemingly evenly matched in every way. The players attempt to intervene, but physically touching the gods fails, as the players keep getting tricked by illusions in the room. One of my players decides on a whim to cast silence on Ogma, and it works, blocking Ogma's next attack and letting Alidamara gain the upper hand. Alidamara takes advantage and throws a haymaker at Ogma, knocking him out of the battle. The goddesses boo Ogma off the stage, and he returns to his home realm in a bluster. Alidamara warns the players that his sister is in trouble in the Divination Hall of the library, and they may want to deal with that before Pain gets out of whack. He also tells them that he must return to his realm of wine song immediately, and bails abruptly. The goddesses continue getting blind drunk, bickering among themselves about why none of them thought to cast such a basic spell. The party heads back out into the central chamber of the library and into the divination hallway, intrigued to meet Alidamara's sister. Upon entering the hall, the surroundings begin to shift from a beautiful library to a dank, dungeonous torture chamber. They find two women beating the hells out of each other with whips. The two seem evenly matched, both dealing incredible pain, but both seemingly enjoying it. As they watch the fight, they realize they had no idea which one belonged to this world, as they had never met either before. The group made history religion checks and were able to determine that the one in the mask was Alidamara's sister. The party tried to find ways to end the fight, but to no effect. Once they thought about it, they realized neither would ever break, nor would either ever surrender. So, they searched the library to find a spell that might end the fight. Numerous investigation checks later, they eventually found a scroll of calm emotions, and figured it was worth a shot. The party returned to the dungeon and cast the spell on the interloping deity, Loviatar. Loviatar failed her save immediately and calmed down. Alidamara's sister, Skarasar, quickly ended the fight, now that her opponent had lost her luster, and whipped her back into her home realm. Skarasar, in a rare act of appreciation, said the players had earned the privilege of feeling the sting of her whip. One of the bolder players accepted and received an incredibly powerful hit. A permanent scar, took 52 hit points of damage, and got an inspiration coin. Quick explanation: I have physical coins I give players as currency to attempt rerolls. I hand them out whenever someone surprises me, or does something I think is cool or funny, or after really big fights. It really helps the game stay light and fun, even when it gets really dark. The other players then got in line and were all whipped by the mistress of exquisite pain. Fun times had by all. And that, dear faithful, is where the session ended, with the party successfully ascending the stairs of stone, escaping the elder elementals, and stopping 2 battles among the gods. But they have only scratched the surface of the shenanigans, for death awaits when next we meet. Now, if you've got ideas, suggestions, questions, comments, cries of anguish, sacred oaths, or vile curses, throw them down in the comments below. And may the gods walk with you always.
The laughing rogue is swinging by with a wink of mischief in his eye. He's dancing through the cheering crowd, stealing hearts and singing loud. Ollie, double up, toast tonight. Raise your glass, keep the rhythm tight. From dusk till dawn, let the music play. The laughing rogue leads a merry way.